lie every time.
No, it's cool.
No, it's great.
God, I have 2 Kleenexes.
I only has
One for each eye. Recovery.com, my ass.
Welcome to Recoverycast, where we share real stories about mental health and addiction recovery. I'm Brittany Bernard, and today our guest is Sam Miller. Sam is a nationally touring comedian and recovery advocate. Drawing on his own lived experience with incarceration, addiction, and homelessness, he blends raw honesty with humor in his stand-up. Sam, welcome to the show. Sam, thanks so much for joining us today. So excited to have you. Thanks for coming to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So before we dive in, what are you hoping that people get from your story?
Maybe some insight into some of their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if someone's already like seeking, they'll feel seen and heard and maybe hear themselves reflected in the stuff that I might talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And then if someone's like kind of on the fence about taking accountability for their mental health or addiction issues, that maybe this could motivate them possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I also hope that people are generally entertained and engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. They will be. Cool. So let's take it back. I want to kind of get an idea of what you were like as a kid.
Okay.
So like 10, 12-year-old, you paint me a picture.
Ooh. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy my childhood.
Really?
This is going to get pretty dark pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I remember I was very scared of my father. That was like a big part of me growing up. Was it my dad? And just he could be pretty violent and pretty scary in a lot of different ways, and also incredibly loving and kind sometimes too.
It can be really confusing.
Yeah. And I never really knew what I was going to get. My dad drank a lot, and he was a prick when he was sober, and he was a maniac when he was like really drunk. But at like 3 or 4 beers, he was wonderful. And so I had like these little windows. And then occasionally the other thing is like when he did fly off the handle, he would make it up to me. Like he might take me to get hamburgers or something.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And then also there were times when we did a lot of fishing together. And there were times where I had some wonderful moments with my dad fishing and also enjoying the Sonics. You like basketball. I don't know why I'm going to do it like this, but the Sonics are gone. And then my dad was gone when I was 12. So my dad passed away when I was 12 from mesothelioma. And yeah, my mom was his third wife. I'm very close with my mom still. She's an absolute sweetheart. We had to work through some stuff, both of us. When something like that happens, it's going to define at least part of you. The way I describe it to people when I tell my story or whatever is that until I was 12, I was scared of my dad. And then after he died, I was kind of scared of everything else. My dad was a maniac, but he was my maniac. He might be heavy-handed, but God help anybody else who lays their hands on me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was a mess.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot to process and deal with as a kid, especially as you said, when somebody is one of your harshest critics, but also like you love the love that they give you so much.
Yeah.
And that it does something with you and how you interpret love and all this other stuff. And
to make him proud meant so much to me. And to disappoint him was so terrifying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As a child, I was already having like a lot of behavior issues.
Like what?
I got diagnosed like ADHD.
Hey.
Yeah.
Wasn't so great back then. It wasn't as cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have a joke where I'm like, the same people that told me to focus were always the people telling me to do boring stuff.
Yeah. You wonder why I don't want to.
Yeah. It was bad. I know it's not this, but I don't mind talking about myself like this. Like I was like a bad kid.
Yeah.
It's funny too, because I knew there'd be hell to pay for my dad. And it's like, I could never bring into mind sufficient force, like the consequences down the road of my actions to actually change what I was doing.
Yeah. Your brain is not fully formed. Plus you've got like impulsiveness with ADHD. It's like, we think about things later, even if it's like right in front of us, we're like doing the thing right now. We're very impulsive.
There's a story I love. So when I was in second grade you had like a math book and you could write in the math book and then tear out the sheet and give it to your teacher. And I loved it because your math book would just disappear.
Yeah. The perforated little.
Yeah. And it's like, done with this, boom. And then in third grade, they were like, oh yeah, you have to write on a separate sheet of paper.
I'm sorry, we can't do that.
For real. Like they were like, you have to write on a separate sheet of paper. And I was like, I am done with school forever. Like that was it.
It's been a great 2 years. The system though. Peace.
No, I'm done.
Yeah. It's hard though. I feel like the world or like education really wasn't designed. I imagine we're around the same age. Wasn't designed for kids with ADHD or like neurodivergent or different ways of learning in general.
No.
Which is extremely isolating too and kind of makes you feel dumb. I felt dumb a lot when I was little.
Yeah. I knew what I'm good at is not necessarily the things that are celebrated in school. And the things that I'm bad at were like on a pedestal. It felt like I still have horrible penmanship. A lot of math I can do all right, like weird heady stuff I can figure it out in my head. Not so much anymore, but back then I could. But one thing is that like I was always like a smooth talker, and I was always a prolific like reader and became a better and better writer as time went on.
Yeah.
Like I was good at saying the things I needed to say. Like it's almost like I had to learn how to communicate. Otherwise the world was really going to stomp on me, like otherwise I didn't have a chance.
Yeah. You had to find the one area like you're good at communicating. Like you stand up on a stage and communicate. It's not like a back and forth conversation, but comedy is communication. Yeah. It's that thing. It's like, I know I'm kind of good at this one thing. I'm going to grab onto this and hone in on it the best I can.
But it sucks when like the thing you're good at in school is talking.
Yeah. Because you're not supposed to.
Oh yeah. And every once in a while it was so funny because we'd have like a group project or something, and it'd be like some kind of presentation. And the other people in my group, they'd be like, "No, I don't." I'm like, "Dude, I got you.
I got this.
Yeah. You're like the center of attention." Or whatever.
So you had lost your father when you were 12, and how did the follow up or the experience from that kind of shape you into your early teens?
Golly, I remember my mom had these hippie friends, and my mom needed a break because she went being a single mother. And my mom wasn't really around a lot. She worked full time. My dad had retired from the Air Force when I was like, I think I was like 6 or 7 or something. So he was around all the time, but my mom was working full time for the VA. My mom actually met my dad because my dad got a DUI. And my mom was friends with her counselor. She's
like, I want that one.
Yeah. I mean, he was a lieutenant colonel.
Yeah.
He's a pilot, it's very,
that's pretty, that is cool.
Yeah, I don't see it, but that's all right. It's not. I went from the kid who was scared of his dad to the kid who's every interact, like I was scared of the world, but also like every interaction I had with any sort of adult would be like, oh my God, like, your dad's dead. And it's weird because like I feel guilty about this, but when my dad passed away, like I also had an immense sense of relief.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to worry about it.
It was a mental load that kind of disappeared, and having to navigate a grown person's unpredictable/predictable emotions because you live with it.
And so like pretty much every adult that I saw, it would be like, oh, I'm so sorry, and like a lot of hugs. I got so tired of people hugging me all the time. And like, it's so weird because it's like, I don't know you, and you didn't know my dad. And I don't know why. And I remember I brought this up, but like my mom had these hippie friends, and it was nice hanging out with them because we might be around people that I didn't know, but they would literally introduce me. And I know these people still to this day, and they're sweetheart people, but they didn't understand, they'd be like, oh, this is our friend Mary's son, Sam. His dad just died.
It's part of your name. Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God. And you're just sitting there, you're just like, yeah. Yeah. How you doing? Oh, I'm okay today.
Because it's hard enough for you in those like internal thoughts, feeling like feeling like you wear it as something on your forehead, but then to have people like verbalizing it and kind of reaffirming that.
Yeah. Also, like I said, that guilt there too, because like I never felt like I was like grieving right.
You didn't do it right properly.
No. I remember that my mom had this candle, and I was like, this is a thing people do when they're grieving. And I would like this candle and like stare at it, and I'd be like, like I don't feel anything. candles. I was like, I don't really get.
No, that is like a thing. Are you Catholic?
My mom is. Yeah. My dad was an atheist.
Yeah.
But my mom didn't know that.
Oh.
Yeah, but my dad made it very clear that he was an atheist. One time I ran out in traffic and my dad grabbed me and stuck me under the front of his car and like revved the engine and to show me what it would be like to get run over.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so like that, that's terrifying.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff. So my dad, like that was like those lessons. Cause that's the thing is it's not just like, the physical stuff was there. He wasn't super heavy handed, but there was definite like physical abuse. But then just the cruelty out of nowhere sometimes was just like shocking to me. Mm-hmm. Like I could not understand. Like I knew that I had made a mistake, but just like I could still feel it in my chest. Like that's why I'm so grateful that I like not to jump the gun that I'm in therapy now is because I've learned how to deal with that fear.
Yeah, because I mean, your first response is, I knew I did something wrong. It was like, yeah, but like. The reaction equal to the thing done wrong. It wasn't you that did
no. And it, so often it was something that like, I think my dad was like a deeply, deeply unhappy and unsettled person. I know he was because his mom was schizophrenic and his dad was very abusive too. Mm-hmm. His mom. So I don't know what was up with his dad, my grandpa, but I remember they lived in Salem, Oregon, and one time my grandma drove my dad, and I never met her. I think she died when I was like 2 or 3. Drove them to Long Beach, California. My dad was 12 Oregon? With his 8-year-old brother from Oregon. Drove them to Long Beach, California, dropped them off, and left. And my dad, my 12-year-old dad,
oh my God,
and his 8-year-old brother like hitchhiked back to like Oregon. Because she was like paranoid and having
an episode or something. Yeah, that's sad because it's like hearing this stuff, your stories with your dad, but it's something like hearing that. It's like those are those cycles where people, it's hard to break out of that.
Yeah, and that was the thing. That's how my dad wound up in the Air Forces. It was like he was like a hoodlum in Salem. And like, it was like either you're getting locked up or you're going to the military.
It was his attempt to do something to get out.
No, they told him it's like, you're going to jail or you're going to the military. They used to do that a lot more. He actually picked the Air Force just because I think it's like the safest.
Yeah.
Which sounds funny.
Yeah. Flying a plane.
With guns.
So your mom was a psychiatric nurse practitioner?
Whoa.
I know.
Let's go.
But I'm really curious, like, how did the communication around mental health go in your house, especially after the passing of your father?
So my mom, what is it? Dr. Heal Thyself or whatever. She was working for the VA with a lot of schizophrenic, like PTSD stuff, primarily a lot of Vietnam vets, which is what my dad was. And, I think there was some head in the sand on her part about how bad things were. And then also some like world-class manipulation on my part.
Yeah.
You know, her being the only relationship that like was stable, you know, and not that it was stable.
It was stable for what you're around.
It was stable compared to other things in my life. And then also like without my dad, like I already was delinquent, but I rose to the top of the delinquency level. Spectrum of like just, you know, I remember I got expelled from middle school.
Middle school? What'd you do?
A lot. Yeah. A lot of stuff. Yeah.
Wasn't one big thing.
No. Smoking weed out of pop cans was popular with matches. Because why not?
You started in middle school?
You know what's weird is I was huffing gas when my dad was still alive.
Really?
I remember him catching me. I don't remember when I started to get high. And also, I was drinking as like a toddler, like 5, 6 years old.
Wait, explain that.
It was okay in my family for kids to drink at a very young age.
Like go get beer or just like, I've got one, you can take a sip of it?
Yeah, it was just me like drinking. There's actually a picture of my brother who's in recovery too, like pouring beer into my mouth. Wow. As like a 6-year-old. When
you were huffing, did you do that to like get higher? Because it was just like this is something funny to do.
No, it made me feel better. Yeah. It was like I wanted to change the way I felt.
Really?
And then I think when I think my dad was still alive, or maybe it was right after he died. I was huffing gas, or it doesn't matter. But I got the worst headache I've had ever. And it became immediately apparent that it was like dangerous.
And I never thought about it before. And what I would do is like each time I did it, I'd go like a little bit farther with it.
Oh, really?
Which is very similar to like every
Any
other
yeah.
practice. Yeah. But I think I might have gotten blacked out later in life and huffed some spray paint. And then also I was with the whippets and the dust off. I did mess with dust off in high school quite a lot. Me and my friend, whose name I won't say, used to drive around in his Buick Regal. It was so scary because we used to huff dust off while we were driving.
That is super scary. That is super scary.
Yeah. And my friend would pass out and I'd have to grab the wheel.
I guess so. It wasn't like mid-teen something happens, you're at a party and like have your first drink. It had kind of been like soft launched through your life.
There was a moment in middle school where I was lifting weights because I was going to be a football player or whatever. It was the first time I got really stoned. And there was a moment where I really I saw my future.
And what was it?
I was going to be really stoned all the time.
You're like, this
It's really not that
awesome.
interesting of a story.
Yeah.
This is what I love about being in the stand-up comedy world is like marijuana use is like so prevalent in stand-up comedy. And it's weird because like weed makes for the most boring stories ever. It's like, oh, I got stoned and then I ate some chips and then I watched YouTube. It's like,
for like 8 hours. Yeah.
Don't fly so close to the sun, Yikes.
Dream big.
Yeah. And I say that as someone who used to spend a lot of time like smoking weed and watching stupid videos on my computer and just not
thinking and having like the greatest thoughts in the whole wide world. And maybe I people are like, you should write stuff down. Well, on ADHD, I'm not writing anything down, but maybe I'll scribble something on a Post-it and be like, girl, if you can remember this, you're going to be a millionaire. And it would just be like Blue 8, nothing.
It doesn't make sense.
Nothing of substance.
Yeah. The first time I got high, I was like, oh, I get it. I was like, everybody who was like on TV or like famous or like everybody who looks like they're having a good time, like they're high probably. And now I'm high too. And now I'll be better.
You
and
thought
I
this
was
when you were
better.
high?
I was better for a while, and then it wore off and then I'd be miserable again. But then I was like, well, I'll just figure out how to get high. Because I mean it when I say this, like, it was something that clicked so strong that the first time I got like high that I remember like thinking I'm like, oh, like I am going to do this as much as I can for as long as I can. And everything else will just have to fit in.
Nothing else matters.
Like, no. Like, I'm just like, it's time. Like,
so when does that thought process kick in?
Like 13, 14.
Okay.
Yeah. 14, like 8th grade was 8th and 9th grade was when that's probably when I had the steepest
the downhill trajectory really fast.
Yeah. Where my downhill trajectory went uphill very fast. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it speeds up real fast. So did you have you said you this is it, I know I want to do it, but did you know it wasn't going to lead you into awesomeness, that it might lead into a not so great place? It could be problematic.
Yeah. There was you're going to get me. I'm going to cry. I always cry when I tell this story, but there was a moment where I was a freshman in high school and I got arrested in class. They used to do this thing because it was they thought that it would help other students. They'd be kind of like a scared straight kind of thing. Yeah.
Shame.
Like a scared straight kind of thing. So a cop, I was in Western Civ, which is this class that I loved. A cop came in and arrested me in class. I had been prescribed Ritalin and I was selling my Ritalin and buying weed and they caught me selling Ritalin, but I didn't have any Ritalin on me, but I had the weed that I bought with the money I made selling the Ritalin. And it was funny because when they're handcuffing me in the class. And at the time, I low key kind of felt like a badass. I hadn't really had a lot of criminal justice system involvement.
Smoldering.
I was like, you guys don't got nothing on me. And then they took me into a room and the vice principal and my mom was there and I just started crying. I'm just it was a mess. And then, this was the moment that I think it's important for people to hear this too. So there was a table in the room, right? And the cop, the vice principal, and my mom were on one side of the table, and I was by myself on the other side of the table. And I was like, all right, I guess I guess my mom's kind of on their team.
Feels
and I'm just
symbolic.
gonna like,
yeah.
I don't know. You know what? You're right. It is symbolic, but it was also not just a symbol. It was like, they're like, we're gonna create a force so strong to stop Sam from getting high. But the thing that people do not understand about the way I use substances, and I know other people that are like this too, is that it was not about getting high. It was about not being sober.
Mhm.
Like, I hated how I felt so much sober that I would do whatever I had to do to get high.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, because I hated being sober way more than I liked being high. I wasn't running towards something. I was running away from something,
Mhm.
and like, I don't know how else to tell people. Like, it's just like, I did not want, like,
Sitting
I
with
do
your
shit
own
all the time. I was
mind.
like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be a thing. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to make my mom cry,
Mhm.
Like, that's the thing that hurts the most, is that I hurt her,
Yeah.
Like, I was ready. I
Mhm.
was like, this is it, And from that point on, it was like, all right, I guess I know now that when it all comes down to it, that their team, not Sam.
It's so hard though, because like as a parent, when I think back on it, especially like late 90s, early 2000s, like I get you're just doing like the best you can.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's handled so differently then, where it is like, we're just gonna strong arm and make sure he
Yeah.
never does anything bad again. Meanwhile, you've got ADHD and trauma, and our
Yeah.
brains kind of just work against. The more you push for me to do the thing, the more I'm likely going to push against and feel more
Exactly.
isolated. Like,
Yeah.
nope, I am on my own, and everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the harder you squeeze, the more of me is gonna leak out.
Uh-huh.
Like it's like water.
Mhm.
I'm gonna find those cracks. I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna get out. Unless I'm willing to like take action.
Mhm.
Unless I see the light, the only thing you're gonna get by clamping down on me is you're gonna get tired.
Mhm.
I will wear you out.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm trying to get high and you're in my way, like, I'll go around you or I'll go through
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
I just will.
Yeah.
I just will, because I did that to the cops. I was like,
Ask him.
I was gonna run or I was gonna fight. There was
Mhm.
no other way.
This cycle then, like, so after high school, you had mentioned previously about cycling through things like jobs, even homelessness.
Yeah.
What did an average day, I guess, like look for you
Man.
outside of, like, you graduate high school, you're in the world. What does a day look like for you?
There's a lot of different phases. It's hard to say. I
Mhm.
mean, you could kind of separate it. You could say like street Sam, home with mom Sam, where I'm trying to get my stuff together.
Mm.
Rehab Sam, jail Sam, Job Corps Sam, Forest Service Sam, and then homeless in the mountains Sam. Like, those were like the phases, basically. There was a certain level when I was homeless in Olympia. It was a certain level of chaos. There was a lot of methamphetamine, a lot of alcohol, always weed, also whatever else I could get my hands on.
Mhm.
I didn't get super into it, but the Percocets and whatnot were a thing for a while. Lived in barns, lived in abandoned houses, lived in cars, lived in vans, slept in doorways. The DSHS got me a shrink, and I used to sleep in his doorway.
Aw, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't like it.
Yeah, you
He'd
again.
wake
Yeah.
up. One of my favorite stories, I talk about this on stage, is that I remember I passed out in a ditch in front of a Burger King one time, and a state patrol guy woke me up. He like kicked me in the shoulder. He was like, "Hey," he's like, "you can't sleep here." And I'm like, "Well, not anymore." I was doing pretty good before you got here.
You're supposed to kick me.
Yeah, and then I make the joke. I'm like, "Yeah, by the way, that's great policing. Everyone's a lot better off now that I'm awake." I'm like, I guess I'll find something
Right?
to do.
It's not even
Yeah.
open yet.
Yeah. It's so hard to even define, because the person I am now is so vastly different,
Mhm.
and in such a different like headspace completely.
Sometimes when you're in survival mode, like, it's not like a everyday type thing. It is just like the seasons and the phases of it.
Yeah, and my worst days were spent in the Yakima jail. But man, I had some good days too. And this is the thing, man, that I get kind of tired of too, is that like, I wasn't, just because like homeless and I was, a drug addict, doesn't mean I didn't have like love and compassion and beauty and there would be I had wonderful days sometimes, you know, like I remember, there was this girl I had a crush on, and she was dating a friend of mine. I don't want to say her name. She lives in Montana now. She might see this and she'll know that I'm talking about her. And we always had a thing for each other, but her boyfriend was not into it.
Yeah, that could impede on your crush.
Yeah. And then I remember one night, it was probably like 2 a.m. I was actually probably getting ready to crash in like a doorway somewhere. Like there was a porch couch that I was really into, but that was gone now. The porch couch was gone at that point. Somebody else moved into the house, and I guess they weren't cool with me on the porch anymore. Jerks.
Lames.
Yeah. Thank you.
Don't like a little adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember I walked down the street and I hear this voice. She goes, Sam? And I was like, hey, what's up? I don't want to say her name. She's like, I broke up with blah, blah, blah. I don't want to say his name either. And I was like, what? That's great. She's like, we ran and like, immediately started like making out. And then we made love in the back of an Astra van on a rainy night in downtown Olympia.
Beautiful.
It was one of my favorite nights ever. I could still hear the rain, and just like going from, see, this is the thing that folks that haven't been through it will never know, is that feeling of going from like, oh my God, like I'm going to sleep in a doorway again tonight. Like this sucks, to like heaven. And to feel like that in the back of an Astra van, and to have like someone to care about me, even if it's just for one night, was so important sometimes, just to get like a break. You know, you never, raincoats, man.
There's a lot though, because I'm just thinking a lot about that story.
What, making love in the back of an Astra?
No, but
I feel weird sometimes talking about it, but like, I don't really like, I don't really like,
no, I think
I'm not going to play that game where it's like, oh, it was so bad, and now everything's good.
No, but I think
that's not fair for me now, or me.
Right. Because it was still a life where it's like you find moments of gratitude. And I think they're easier to find when you haven't had everything given, and every day is great, when you can find moments in a day that just like make you feel overwhelmingly human. Like those are the moments where you're like, this is that life experience. Like no matter where I am or the like things going on, like I'm having like the human experience, and I'm enjoying that with someone else, regardless of like all the things or the loneliness I felt, or like trying to find the next place because I'm surviving right now. Like I've had this human experience, and all of that was just taken away.
And the other thing too, to add to that, is it also that when I was on the streets or incarcerated, like at any time, like anything could be taken from me, but they can't take those memories. And it turned into me being a comedian because they couldn't take jokes. I have been running my mouth for so long to so many people, teachers, anybody who tried to get me to do something I didn't want to do, they're going to get it.
Talk them up.
They're going to get it. And now I live a life where very few people tell me to do things I don't want to do.
I love that for you. I love that. I mean, when I first started this, I was just like, I need to go pull up all those report cards that were like, she's great, she needs to stop talking.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Really? This podcast is brought to you by Recovery.com. Recovery.com is a place where anyone can find mental health or addiction treatment options specific to them. You can filter by location, price, insurance coverage, therapy type, mental health condition, levels of care, and so much more. Recovery.com is the best place to find mental health or addiction treatment for anyone, anywhere.
Yeah, I wound up in front of the Capitol Theater under a tarp. With a lady. And then the joke, it's kind of funny how I came around, because I say in the joke that we were doing tarp stuff. Anyway, some lady walked by and saw us doing tarp stuff. And I don't know, something snapped in me. And it's like, it's magic. Maybe some type of spiritual thing was going on. I don't need to define it. It doesn't really matter what I think it is, because what I know it was probably the most important day of my life. And all of a sudden I was like looking down at myself, and I was like, I'm going to kill myself or I'm going to get help. And 4 days later, I sought out help. I went to my mom's house first, and I walked there, and I stood on my mom's porch, and she opened the door, and I told her, I told my mom, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be a drunk anymore. And then I hid at my mom's house for like 4 days. Had a seizure.
Were you like detoxing it?
Yeah, benzos. I had gotten into it's so stupid that I did that. I was like, I'm going to do meth off and on for 8 years and drink a lot and smoke weed. And then for the last 6 months, I'll do benzos.
Yeah. No, I love that plan.
Yeah. It's
We're a planner.
It's my retirement plan. Anyway, it's not. So before I did that, when I wanted to get sober, that felt like real, but this time felt different.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, oh, there's a different level of real. And this was it.
There is like an actual switch. I know the feeling of wanting to stop something, but you're like, okay, but I'm not going to. And we're just going to kind of keep on doing this. And then there's a moment where like either someone says something and it clicks, or you just feel something. Like I think I can be done now. I can be done now.
Yeah. It felt so tumultuous and like chaos. And like,
unknown.
I felt insane.
Really?
And I knew I needed help. And so 4 days I wandered into a like self-help, like 12-step group where I've been ever since, and in my little town of Olympia there. And, but golly, it was honestly like I don't want to like spoil the ending, but it was like probably like 3 years before I like stabilized.
Really?
Yeah. And I would have like, I stopped getting high. I'd still gotten in fights. I got arrested a couple times after I got sober I was like a bouncer at this bar, and I was not heavy handed, but, I was also not heavy handed.
I mean, you're a bouncer. Like people are going to say some stuff. Like I think it's kind of expected.
That's not real. I'm sorry. Sometimes I got to like watch myself because like I want like, I shouldn't have been a bouncer is what it was. Is it, I felt like crap about myself, and I thought that I deserved to just be at the bar and doing that.
Not only that, but it's like a weird power move too sometimes.
Yeah, it was. And you know what's funny is like I had like a lot of my friend group was changing and becoming more and more other people in recovery. And like it was a thing where I had to deal with that. You're right. I would be like, yeah, we're in recovery, but I work at McCoy's, which was the name of the bar. And there's wonderful, beautiful people down there. And 95% of them are no issue. And then, one night I got beat up by some Canadians one night. And then a couple other nights I beat other people up. And like, it was just, and there was a couple nights where I got done at my job and I'd go to other bars and fight people, which was not
Couldn't
good.
catch a fight at my bar. Had to go to someone else's, start some shit.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I had to watch myself because I almost became like an arbiter to where like, it's like, oh, I felt like controlling other people's behavior would somehow like make me less indictable for my own.
No, I think anybody who has seen any type of form of like power enacted anywhere, it's the same thing. Yeah.
And I was upset that and what's funny is I was a good bouncer. I did a good job. And there was one night some dude said he was going to stab me, and he tried to climb over the back fence, and he went to the front door, and I told him, I was like, hey man, I don't know if you have a knife or not, but I just want to go home. I don't want any issues. We'd already called the cops, and he came in through the front door, and I shoved him really, really hard, and he hit his head really, really hard, and he was in like a coma.
Wow.
And I almost killed this guy. And I think 3 weeks after that, I got arrested at work because a cop grabbed me. I didn't know she was a cop. This cop grabbed me, and I turned around, and they let me go. I didn't get like, any charges or anything, but like, that when I got arrested, I was like, that was it. And at that point too, I had a kid. Like I had gotten married.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't married yet, but I had a kid. You're
like, I don't need to be doing this anymore.
Yeah. And I went, I made the decision to do the scariest thing, which was to go back to school. because then I was going to be a treatment counselor and I was going to save the world.
Oh, that's a lot to put on yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. It didn't work.
High hopes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so for 3 years, you said it took you like from the day you decided like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Then you detox, and you said there's like 3 years before you got it together. What does that mean? Like you're sober, but kind of like white knuckling it.
No, I wasn't white knuckling it. That's how long it took me to start trusting myself to enact these new systems of living that I was learning, these new strategies for life.
Which is huge. I feel like recovery coaching is such a big thing too, because it's like you can have someone detox, they can go to a 30-day, 90-day, but like when they get out of that very controlled bubble of an environment, do they know how to rent an apartment, pay the bills, the cycles of things, the repercussions, how to go apply for jobs, just like presenting yourself in the public that hasn't necessarily been around or you've been integrated in a long time.
And Brittany was a big help with that.
How did you guys meet?
At the bar that I worked at. Yeah. I wasn't working that night. I was just walking around. Mm-hmm. I was 4 months sober. And the other thing too is I was still homeless when I got sober. Like my mom let me stay with her for a couple of weeks, but then I was couch surfing and stuff after that. I think I was couch surfing for a few months, 4 months, something like that. I think I was 4 months sober when I met Brittany. And like, here's the thing though, is that I had hope, and I got hope because I remember sitting in the corner of a meeting, and I heard somebody say something that I identified with. And I remember kind of looking around, and like, I remember taking like a deep breath, which is weird because I was still smoking cigarettes. I quit smoking cigarettes. I think it was like 1.5 years sober when I quit smoking cigarettes because I found out I was having a kid. I remember I took this deep breath and I looked around and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I feel like okay. And I got so excited that I lost it, but I did feel like okay for a minute. And then I knew that since I felt okay that one time, that I might be able to feel okay again, you know? And that's what it's been, is it like my level of like okay days has like gradually risen for like a long time now. And like, I have like really, really good days. I always tell people, and it keeps going up a little bit. And I really feel like right now in my life, I'm like 52% like happy.
That's awesome. That's so fucking cool. I love it.
Yeah. And 52% is like really good. And I'm really proud. And it's because I was willing to ask for help. And then not just like, and then here's the thing too, is that I also started therapy, and to work through the stuff with my dad. And now I have a therapist that I love. Like me and my therapist are cool as hell. I love my therapist.
They know where all the bodies are. I love my therapist.
Yeah,
they know everything.
We do real well. Yeah. And and have like, I thought that I had like I kind of had a breakthrough. Like I've kind of had multiple like breakthroughs. And like one of them was at the river with my boy on the 4th of July. I went to 3 different barbecues because also look at me. I'm like, barbecues,
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Because it's weird because I know I'm in Wisconsin and I'm going to have something delicious.
Cheese curds. Yeah,
probably. Not to jump right into this, but like I remember being with my first son. Brittany was pregnant at home. I don't think I was bouncing anymore. I was back in school. And just people that talk about Washington State, you think rain, man, our summers are beautiful there. Yeah. It's wonderful. And I went down to the river with my kid, but there's all these waterfalls, and immediately I'm hit with that fear. It's like, oh, my kid's like 1.5 years old. He's going to jump in the damn river. Why did I bring him down here? He's like hyper like I am. And then, I sat on the river, and then my kid, he sat down. He just sat down next to me. We were just throwing like little rocks into the river. And I looked up at the sun shining through the leaves, and I felt the wind on my face. And in that moment, I was like, okay, like I'm going to be okay. Like I'm okay now. And now whenever I get upset, I think about the river and I think about my boy, and I know that I'm going to be okay.
That's so grounding.
And, for folks like me and a lot of other folks, like okay is like such a big deal. When I do a lot of shows at comedy clubs and shit, but I also do, when I do shows for other people in recovery, I talk about that and like how a lot of my issues was not, how do I get a good life? How do I do great thing? Like what I needed to work on more than anything was like, in a weird way, like thinking like that is kind of like the same thinking I had when I was getting high. Like, how do I feel great? When the best thing is like, how do I be okay with being okay?
Honestly,
like how do I just chill out a little bit and give myself some grace? How do I learn patience? I still struggle with that. But yeah, that was like the first one. And that was, let me see, I got sober in 2008. That's like 3 years into recovery, where I was like, oh man. And like, I kind of go back and forth on the God stuff. I'm kind of agnostic. I don't really know what's going on. I don't spend a lot of time.
He won't tell me. Yeah.
He won't tell me. Why would I? I won't even tell myself. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I meant him.
Yeah. He won't tell me.
He won't tell me what's going on.
Yeah. Somebody help.
Just like say something.
Yeah. And then the other one was when I finally got the therapist that I liked. I would still have these moments where I would think about my dad and I'd be filled with fear and rage. I would think about my dad all the time and I'd be like, man, I want to fight him and hug him. And even now, when I think about him, I want to fight him. I want to let him know that I'm not scared of him anymore. But then I want to tell him how much I loved him and how much I wish it was different. And I'm jealous of my brother because my brother was able to hash stuff out with him. And, but anyway, I got a therapist and it started slow, but then we got going and then we finally got to this with my dad. And my therapist was like, they were like, when you think about your dad, like what happens to you physically? And I was like, well, I make fists and I feel this tightness in my chest. And I have a PTSD diagnosis and I know what's going on. And if I go down that road far enough, like I will eventually have like a full on like panic attack. I've only had 1.5. But anyway, I'm so upset and I can feel it a little bit right now while I'm talking to you. And then my therapist is like, when your chest is like that, what do you think your chest wants to say to you? And I remember thinking, I'm like, well, my chest would probably want me to know that it's going to be okay. That like he can't really like hurt me. Like it's just, he's history and he's an idea and he's a thought and he's a part of me, but he's not a part of me that can like hurt me. And he's a part of me where it's okay for me to love him. It's okay for me to hate him sometimes. It's okay to have all those feelings.
Yeah.
And that I can, continue to work on that. And then me having 2 boys that are 14 and 12, and I've never put my hands on my boys. I've never. He did better than his dad did. My dad did better than his dad did. And I'm doing better than my dad did. I hope my kids just stop having fucking kids already.
And you guys can end it all by just not reproducing.
Yeah. Stop reproducing. Stop making more Millers. We're a mess. God, I have 2 Kleenexes.
I only has
one for each eye.
This is
see what recovery.com my ass. I don't feel any better. Is this what you
feel
wanted?
Worse?
Yeah, thanks a lot.
No, I cry every time.
No, it's cool.
No, it's great. But like I have a daughter who's 13. My youngest one's 3. Let's go.
I didn't know you had kids.
That's awesome. I got a 3 and a 13-year-old. And it's like when your kids start hitting the ages you went through stuff, you start revisiting and it hits you, especially when your parents' voice comes out of you at times with your children.
I'm jealous of my 14-year-old has a dang old girlfriend. Ain't no girls messing with 14-year-old Sam. I was like, what do you want to do? It's like, we could go huff dust off with Bobby. Listen to Brother Lynch Hung in his Buick. Any takers?
No.
I said they're like, we'd like to go to a concert.
What were the first few steps that you took when you decided to get sober? Like you get into like a treatment facility?
You know what? I wish I would have.
Yeah.
It probably would have been a little bit better. But this was pre-2008 and it was 2008.
How do you even look?
I didn't have health insurance.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford that. Rehab wasn't happening. And I had gone like too many times in Washington State or whatever.
Yeah.
But now
if you optionally go, I think if it's not like a charge.
No, there's so many ways in now, which is so dope. And it sucks is like, I'm a harm reduction advocate, and
Same.
I always will be. Anytime anybody makes a healthier decision, my hat is off to them. That is dope. I want to lift that up and celebrate that. And for a lot of folks like me, like abstinence only recovery works very well for a lot of people, including me. And what's nice about if you do choose that type of recovery and be like, hey, I'm not doing anything, there's a lot of resources, I think, out there for folks. You know what I mean? Like a lot of resources.
Yeah, finding community too.
Yeah, and that was the thing is that like what wound up happening, but I will tell you this, is that I had been to rehab a few times. I had been to shrinks a few times. And a lot of that stuff that I could have cared less about in that rehab, I remembered a lot of it. Like, and that became important to me when I started working with youth and with drug users, to remember that there's no, was it Mother Teresa? She's like, no act of compassion is ever wasted. Yeah. That like the work that people put into me all the way back to Dr. Walker paid off.
It means something every day.
Everything. Yeah. But as far as me, like, yeah, I just got involved with a group, but I got involved with the groups, but like but the thing too is that I didn't just get involved. I got engaged. Like I was doing service. I was like, I was making friends. You know, in the weird way, like I don't know if I've ever really put this together like this, but like the same way I talk about addiction, I wasn't running towards a high, I was running away from sobriety. Now I was running towards recovery. Like I was
booking it.
Yeah, because I knew
I was running.
I don't think I didn't have another go. I think I took it about as far as you can take it. And I know that I'm kind of talking out of my ass a little bit because I can't say for sure. But like, I remember, you know, the only thing that stopped me from killing myself was just like my mom. You know, I used to think about like, if my mom died, I might make it like 10 minutes or something, you know, like that was the only thing. I used to not like fantasize. Well, I mean, I remember thinking, I was like, I kind of wish my mom would be gone and then I could die too. Like, you know, and it's a terrible place to be at for like a whole year. Yeah. You know, like that was my last year. That's what it was. And also even early in recovery, you know, and this is the thing too, I really want this message to get out too, is that when I was 4 months and 11 months sober, I was also having like a lot of suicidal ideation. Like, and I had this pride and I didn't want to talk about it, but luckily I put in enough work to where like they call them like insurance, you know, to where like I would go to extra like meetings and stuff. So like when that stuff would happen, like I was able to talk about it, you know, and I talk about it with my therapist now. Like I still have like some ideation here and there every once in a while. It kind of hits me having a bad day, but it's the same way I'm talking about like the 52%, like as long as I'm willing to put the work in on my physical, spiritual, mental health, all that, it's like life gradually gets better. There's ups and downs, but the ups aren't as up and the downs aren't as down. And then, and the ideation has gone down like significantly. Like it's almost non-existent. Maybe like once a month, something will catch me on a weird day and I'll be like, maybe I could just not be here. Yep. You know? Yeah. Which is just like,
I do know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do know. Yeah. So you started doing stand-up in 2014 and now perform like nationwide. How did comedy enter your recovery story?
Oh, when I was, let me see, 2014. So 6 years sober thereabouts. I got sober in June of 2008. I started doing comedy in July of 2014. Yeah, people had told me to do it. I had been asked to speak at some things and people in recovery were like, you should do comedy. And then one day I walked past an open mic and I went in and I did it. And you did it? And sometimes I regret walking
Really?
in. Yeah, totally. I can't see myself quitting comedy, but there are moments where I wish I didn't start because it is it's a very tough industry. It's hard, you know, because if I don't sell tickets, I don't get paid. And sometimes it's hard to sell tickets. And a lot of my job is social media, which is its own issue. But yeah, the first time I did it, it clicked the same way drugs did. Yeah. And I was like, uh-oh.
We like this.
I love this story and I tell this all the time, but I think I really, it could not be truer. When I walked off stage after my first set, I did okay. I told a story and I did okay. And I got some laughs. And I remember thinking on my way down, I was like, man, I might get divorced over this. I really was. I was like,
I'm in it.
Because I'm like, this is something that is going to become a huge part of who I am. And off we went. Yeah. Much like drugs, which I'm comfortable saying, much like drugs, comedy took over my life. I made some mistakes, lost a job, lost some friendship, worked hard to find a balance again, which I did find probably COVID did what it did, wrecked comedy for a while, but, quit my job and quit my job 4 years ago, and that made things a lot easier, because I wasn't trying to work and do it.
Pulling 40 hours plus also another for like promoting yourself and
then,
doing all the work.
Yeah. And then also feeling guilty because I'm sticking my wife with the kids all the time so what I would do is we'd have a lot of adventures. And so and it was awesome because I built this great relationship with my kids where we'd go out and do stuff all the time.
That's super cool.
Yeah. But a lot of it was just to appease like this guilt. But I've found a balance for the most part. And it's, it's still growing and it's changing. And I have my bad months and good months. But I've been doing it full time. I've been most everywhere in the country. Yeah.
So are there times within this where, like, what do you do to maintain your sobriety? Like, what are the tools that you have to use to, maintain your sobriety? I would imagine it's different from the beginning than it is now.
I'll be honest. It's funny because recovery was like kind of what led me into comedy.
Really?
And then comedy kind of took me away from my recovery stuff a little bit. What I try to do is be intentional and be like, hey, I'm going to hit a meeting here. I'm going to call my friend here. And then also like my physical health is taking a lot of things. And also my therapist that I call on the phone a lot. A lot of times I talk to my therapist. I mean, I was in Chicago a year ago talking to my therapist on the phone, the same things I do at home and that anybody would do with any job I do. And that's the thing is to like, you have to let it exist in like these different realms. Like it is connected to my recovery and it's connected and it's how I support my family. And it's how I engage with my community a lot of times.
Yeah.
And
make people feel connected through this story.
Yeah. And I have to watch myself because the public figure stuff can get a little bit weird with me. And like I have to watch my ego, which is tough.
That can be tough when you're this awesome.
Yeah, it's real hard for me.
You performed a stage piece called the Jail Letters Project.
Oh, yeah, with my mom.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So what's one joke you tell on stage about being in jail or an addiction that you deep down know is maybe more of a therapeutic process?
First off, I love that you brought this up because there's a lot of comedians that say that comedy is therapy. Comedy is not therapy. Therapy's therapy. Comedy can be therapeutic.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
Because it's not fixing it. It's that looping kind of anger thought.
Yeah. Like I remember like I've been with like road comics and they'll be like, yeah, that's cool. You do all your recovery stuff. It's like comedy's kind of my therapy is when I was starting out. I'm like, that's weird. You're cheating on your wife. You did a bunch of coke last night. It was like some
sick therapy session.
Wow, yeah, that's sick, dude. Yeah, hell yeah. That sounds very.
Yeah. But also sometimes it's just like when I like to say I've led a life. And when you've led a life, you've just got stories behind it that other people find hilarious. And it is kind of like, I got that out a little bit. I feel less shame about it. I can talk about it, which is great instead of feeling like I'm such a horrible person keeping it inside.
Exactly. I'm with you. There's a joke that I do that is, people sometimes, I think people think that I exaggerate things, and I do. I do exaggerate things on stage. But a lot of times with my jokes, I'll actually like make them nicer and like easier to believe or like kinder. So there's a joke I have about being in a Thurston County jail and a guard turned off the hot water early. I can't remember. See, now I'm all confused about what's the real part. Because what actually happened, was there was a guard. I was taking a shower. They turned off the hot water at like 9 p.m. And I like to take a shower before I would go to bed.
As one does. As one should.
Yeah. And it was 8:55 and he turned off the hot water early. And he was like, Sam, why don't you take a shower tomorrow? And I was like, I got shampoo in my hair.
I'm in the shower, bro.
I'm following the rules. You should follow the rules. He's like, why don't you take a shower tomorrow? And I snapped. And I don't want to say what I was like, why don't you? Like, I went off, right? And I came out of the shower naked towards the guard. And I realized while I was doing it that like much like I looked down at myself under the tarp, I looked down at myself. I'm like, you're trying to fight a guard like naked right now.
You're
And
doing Tarp tings.
Yeah, Tarp things. Yeah. Like, I immediately realized, I was like, I'm so sorry. I laid on the ground and I got reclassified and I wound up going to the Yakima jail, which was terrible.
I was going to say, wait, they reclassified you like, thanks for stopping, or no, you did bad, you got to go somewhere else?
Yeah. That last one. Yeah. But in the joke, I talk about getting arrested in jail, and that I say that because I always thought it was funny. We used to watch Cops in jail, right? So I kind of combined. Like,
I hate that
true story. What, watching Cops
in jail?
I know.
Why is that? Or they're always watching
that was the joke. Is we'd watch
it's
Cops
court shows.
I know, but we'd watch Cops in jail, and we'd be like, and the guards would be like, "Did you guys started seeing Cops?" I'd be like, "I'm like, they can't get me anymore.
Yeah,
like I'm here, ain't I? You know?"
Yeah.
And then the guard would be like, and then I'd tell the guy, I was like, why don't you get out of my face? And that's what I say happened. And that's how I got arrested in jail.
Gotcha.
But what actually happened is I tried to fart a guard.
I tried to
fart on a guard while I was naked. No, that's the thing is I say that I just got in an argument with a guard, but that's not what happened. I tried to fight a guard while I was naked.
Yeah.
Which is frowned on.
In this establishment.
I know.
Yeah. So you've gone from sleeping under a tarp to recording your debut album in that same theater.
Yeah, Capitol Theater.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Olympia. I actually have it tattooed on my leg.
That's awesome. What does that full circle moment feel like?
Man, there's been so many moments like that. And you know what's crazy is I'm about to have another one this weekend because I'm headlining at Zany's Comedy Club.
That's
it's like
so
a legacy
cool.
club in Chicago. You know, there's two parts I think are important to talk about. And one is just like the immense joy and like the celebration and like for not just me, but for like the people that have helped me.
Yeah.
And the people that are in my community that maybe not living vicariously, but celebrating like this part. Because a lot of these jokes, they don't feel like my jokes. They feel like our jokes. Like it's like, I'm not representing any community, but as far as like drug users and like formerly unhoused people or whatever, yeah, see, I'm still using the thing. People that used to be homeless.
Just common experiences. Yeah.
And just being like, I'm not like a representative, but I'm not that either. And that it feels like I get a lot of love. I get a lot of wonderful messages. There's that part. But then there's also like, there's some guilt that I deal with a lot of times about how come I'm here and like friends of mine aren't.
Yeah.
And that part really hurts. Like there's the last like 6-7 years have just been brutal as far as like overdoses and stuff. It's been really hard. So many wonderful, beautiful people that there's a lot of people that helped me get sober that aren't around, you know, that shit sucks. It sucks big time. And like, I just want to like, I want to celebrate with them. It's so dangerous.
It is. You're a recovery advocate. So as someone in recovery and a recovery advocate, if you could stop people from repeating like one thing, what would that be? Like something that's just like not helpful to someone.
I guess like unsolicited advice, and also, which I think comes with this assumption that one would have like, there's this idea out there. It's like, oh, like they're homeless because they're on drugs but a lot of times like being homeless changed the way I use drugs. And a lot of folks that I knew on the streets, they weren't on drugs and they weren't using it. And also people with houses use plenty of drugs. And like that bothers me. I used to have like fly a sign or whatever, like fly a flag, like have a sign, like an interchange. I didn't do it too much. And it's funny because people would always like give me this advice. And it was always strange because it was like, it'd be this dude and he'd be in like a Hyundai Elantra, like a 2006. You have like a bunch of kids in the back and he'd be like, hey, you know what you should do? And I was like, nah, listen to you, dude. Like, that's what I should do. That was kind of mean, but like not assuming that your like not projecting and not assuming that your story makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and also for if you are in recovery, the however much like I love and we love our recovery, that doesn't necessarily mean that the stuff we work will work exactly like ours for somebody else. Just that idea that I think, you know, it's weird. It comes back to almost like the bouncers and the cops in that room. Is it like that? Like your power over me does not mean that you have a better idea. Does not mean that you understand like what can make the situation better. You know, like you can't like to me, and I'm not trying to be political here, but it's like this thing that's like when you talk about like this literal like this war on drugs, like treating it like a war doesn't work. And it hasn't worked. And also if it is a war on drugs, like I'm sorry, like it seems to me that drugs have like
we're
won.
Losing.
Yeah, like drugs won. It seems like addiction has not gone anywhere. And it's weird because like any other war, if you want it to be a war, like any other war, when a side is losing, they will give up, they will try something else or like something, surrender, say like, this isn't working. Like, I think these substances need to be regulated and to stop locking people up,
That first comment you said, it sounds like a lot of people, it's like, maybe stop talking so much and like listen, like make someone feel heard. And then they'll start, that's when like the real combos will start coming in too.
I also feel it's funny because I thought this podcast has gone really well until this last question. And I mean it. Like, I think I'm following my own advice because the advice that I would give to myself, knowing what I know about myself, might not pertain to somebody else. So I guess the thing I would tell people that are trying to help drug addicts or other folks is to listen and to watch and to learn and to give people space. Give people space. Help them meet those basic needs. Yeah. And kind of watch,
That was awesome. And I really, really appreciate you sharing your story. I've loved these. We've laughed. We've cried. I sweat a little.
Yeah. So. I got you a little bit. Yeah.
So
I always want to take bites out of these.
Okay, me too. One day it'll be like Cookie or Mike.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
So before you bite this, tell people where they can follow you, socials, tour. We want to know it all.
I'm on homedepot.com. No.
Doers.
I don't know why I said that. I'm sponsored by the Home Depot. No, I'm not. I have no issue with Home Depot. What's funny is Home Depot might have issue with me. This was back in the day. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not allowed back.
Scams. Let's go.
Get it. Okay, so where can people find you? What are the socials? Tell us all of it.
So Sam Miller Comedian on Instagram, Sam Miller Comedy on Facebook, sammillercomedy.com. I used to be more active on TikTok, but I get
it's dangerous in there.
It's too much.
Yeah.
I still do a lot of stuff on TikTok. And what's cool is that Black Friday, I don't know when this will come out, but Black Friday, my first comedy special that was #1 on iTunes is coming out on YouTube.
Shut up. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been out for a long time on other platforms. A lot of people, I saw a lot of vinyl. That's going to be, so people can watch for free on YouTube, which a lot of people like to do it that way.
That's awesome.
Really cool.
I hope you're really proud of yourself. You've come a really, really long way. Yeah. And I appreciate you sharing this because I know people feel connected to a lot of pieces of that. Like we are, just we're a bit different, you know what I mean? But like, there's a lot of stuff to your story where I was just like, we had to do the thing where we were talking about before. I have to try and not go off in my own thoughts because it just like brings up like, wow, that's really relatable. And I just really appreciate that.
During this podcast, I've realized there are a lot of similarities between like, whatever our ADHD stuff, and then you kind of do your anxiety Lexapro thing, and I kind of did this other like thing that I can't quite define. Tarp tings. Tarp tings.
Tarp tings. Well, okay, so that's it for our episode today. Thank you all so much for joining us from Recoverycast. Thank you, Sam Miller, so much for being our guest today. We will catch you next time. Thank you so much for joining us.